and welcome. This is Whole and Beautiful. I am Angela Oliphant, your host, and I am so glad that you all have joined me for another night of information, revelation, and change. Tonight is going to be another phenomenal night. You don't want to miss tonight's interview. So I want you to I want you to comment, I want you to share this broadcast with somebody else. Let them know that Whole and Beautiful is on and that we have a great guest tonight, and I want them to be a part of my Whole and Beautiful nation tonight. So go ahead and share, go ahead and go ahead and start your comments coming. um I wanted to remind you that if you would like to be a guest on Whole and Beautiful, send me an email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will get in contact with you, get you on the show. If you know somebody that you want to be on the show, just send me their name, their information. I'll get in contact with them. Also, we're still doing our couples conversations. So if you know a couple that you said that couple would be good for couples conversation on the Whole and Beautiful show, then go ahead and send me that email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will get in contact with them because we're yet talking to our couples. And a few weeks ago, we had my cousin, Pastor Kenneth Darrell Ray Clayton, on, and that was part of my Mentoring Moments show. So we're still talking to some men who are making differences in the lives of other people, in the lives of younger men, in the lives of others. So if you know somebody that will fit that criteria and you want them to be on, just let me know. Again, that's wholebeautiful@gmail.com. Send me those emails. Let me know you're listening. Let me know you're out there. Let me know that you want to be a part of the show and come on in and join and be a part of the Whole and Beautiful nation. I have a guest that's going to be coming on with me on tonight, and I am so excited that she accepted my invitation to be a part of my show. I've had her on once before, but that's when I was doing the radio portion. So you didn't see her, but you heard her. And that show was just a little bit different. And we're going to go and we're going to talk to her on tonight. And I want to share just her with you. What I'm talking about this month is women making history. And the way that I look at it is I'm looking at women who make an impact in the world. Hi, Linda. Thank you for joining. So she is making an impact. I believe that she is. And I believe that she's going to make impact in a lot more areas than in our community, in her church. She is very active in a lot of different things. So I am going to have her come in so you all can see who my guest is today. And we'll get a chance to talk to her, and we'll get a chance to see who she is, what she's doing, and how she's making an impact in our community and even in the world. I think that she's a world changer. So I want Sep Canty to please come into the show now. Hi.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. I'm very excited to be here with you tonight.
That is great. I want you to share just a little bit about who you are. I know I have your bio, but I wanted you just to share just some highlights about who you are, what you do, and we're gonna go from there and carry on with the interview.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I am Persephone's Canty. I am a native of South Carolina, a little small town in the PD area called Latta, which is in Dillon County. I have lived in Columbia probably for the past, I want to say maybe 25 years or so.
Okay.
I have a Bachelor of Arts degree from South Carolina State University, go Bulldogs, a dual master's degree in human resources and management from Webster University. And I am now a doctoral candidate, I'm very proud to say,
Yes.
from the University of Phoenix, and getting that doctorate degree in organizational leadership. I have over 22 years of experience in human resources with training and learning and development, talent development, performance improvement. And mostly, Angela, what that includes is just instruction, facilitation, development, and design. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell right now. I think one thing that I am most proud of, though, as of this year, I will be a 10-year cancer survivor. So I've made my 10 years. So yes. So
Yes.
praise God. That's yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I was like, I love it. Oh, there's so many different things that I looked at when I was looking at your bio, and I was like, oh, there's so much that she does. So I know we won't be able to like talk in depth about everything, but I did want them to kind of like know who you are. When you were talking about your different degrees and stuff where you've gone to school, was that something that you planned out and said at a younger age, I want to go to school, this is what I'm going to do? Or was that something that came later?
From an early age, education was important in my household. And I knew that I wanted to get an education. I thought, Angela, I was going to start out as a school teacher, being in the public school system, because there were a lot of teachers who made a difference in my life.
Right.
And I still remember those elementary and high school teachers who took this little young girl and helped make a difference. And so when I got to college, I decided I wanted to go in education. And then I realized that wasn't for me after shadowing and being in the school system. But as God would have it, and life happened, I ended up in education, but just in a different manner. It's in corporate education. So I'm still a teacher. It's still God's plan. It's
Yeah.
just in a different format. So sometimes our plans aren't God's plans, but they do work out
Yeah.
in the so education has always been a part of my life. And I love a book. I
Me
love a
too. Me too. Is there anything that you're specifically that you're reading right now? Um,
Yeah, I'm actually reading a book that I heard Sarita Jakes and her mom talk about in an interview. And it's called, now that you asked me, it kind of escapes me. It's something to the extent of children of immature parents,
okay.
just talking about relationships of parents and children and how at a young age all of that shapes us as adults, how we treat our children and the relationship and the dynamics of that. And it really is a poignant book. It's causing me to reflect on a lot of things even in my life, past and present, and how life has shaped me and how I'm dealing with things. So it's a really, really a good read.
I'm glad that you said that because I saw that interview and I heard the
Mhm.
name of that book and I was like, I need to get that book so I can read it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be
I
my
ordered it
next read.
immediately after I heard the interview.
Yeah, and I was like, I should have just went ahead and got it that that night when I heard it. I was like, I should have just went ahead and ordered it. But then I forgot, and I'm so glad that I asked you what you were reading because then that brings it back. So when I get off here tonight, you know what I'm doing? I'm gonna order the book or I'm gonna go pick it up because I really wanted to read it because even that interview that they had was really good. It was really good. It
Yes.
was. Um, with being in your bio, it talked about you being a talent development professional. At that point in time, what did you do with that? What is that? I was interested to know what a talent development professional was.
It is just the development of employees in organizations. For
Okay.
me, I started training years ago, training and development and learning and development. You know, the language kind of intertwines a little bit, but I've always been interested in training. When I started my master's degree, honestly, in human resources, I thought I would go into compensation and benefits and recruiting and things of that nature. But I walked into a class at Webster University. Actually entitled training and development. And from the first day, I fell in love. And that was my epiphany that I was supposed to still be in education, an educator. And, just developing employees, teaching. You've been in some of my classes.
Yes.
I love to see people develop in their skills and just to be able to learn things and then take those skills and knowledge and then turn them into productivity and increased performance in their jobs. There's nothing like having somebody call you or come by your office to say, hey, the things I learned in your class, taught me how to, be able to process this better, or to actually, customer service is my thing.
Yes,
And so just to be able to interact not only with external customers, but internal customers. So training has always been a part of who I am for the past 22 years, and just developing those employees and employee engagement. And I've even had the opportunity to delve a little bit further in terms of training with diversity, equity, and inclusion, because that's big in organizations now, and workplace harassment and retaliation and discrimination. I've had some experience and training with that. And then leadership training. Leadership is so important,
yes.
not only in organizations in corporate, but also, we have, leadership in churches. We have leadership in different areas. So leadership is also important. So I'm very blessed to be able to have that under my belt and be able to share some of my experiences and skills with that as well.
Well, hi Diane. Thank you for joining us. And then hi to Miss A. Miss A has joined in. She's over at ALH Broadcasting. She's with us. And Diane is right. I loved your class. The training class is just awesome. When it was Sep that was teaching, I was like, I gotta take the class. And I love being in the class because I always learned something, always got something to take with me when I was getting ready to leave out of that class. So it was always fun being in your classes. Um, do you think that there's, I don't know, when you were talking about how you went to school for education and you were saying that you were thinking that you were going to be a teacher, and I had looked at a lot of different things, like for myself, where I would think, oh, I want to teach and I want to be a part of this to teach. But then we think you look at it in a different aspect, and there's so many different areas to teach, and I didn't think about that. But just sitting here listening to you, and I'm like, okay, there's different areas to go in to be able to teach. Because I'll go into school and I'm so excited about everything, and I'm going into class and I'm so excited about being in class because I love teaching. I love to see when people, like when the light bulb goes on and you know it and they got it. It's like, oh, that's a joy to me.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's like to see that light bulb go on and say, "Oh, they got it. They understand." That is awesome. You talked about leadership also in the church. Now, what tell us a little bit about your church, where you are, and what is your role there? What do you do
Okay.
there?
I'm a member of Brooklyn Baptist Church, and I started out at the West Campus. We have two locations. And then when we opened up our Northeast location some years ago, I visited and never left. And so I've served in several capacities over the years. I've been a member since 1996. So over the years, when I was at the West Campus, I started out in tutorial program because the youth and teens, I think, are so important. They're the ones that we have to shape their minds and bring them to Christ and show them through our works the reflection of Christ. And so the tutorial program was important to me. And so I served in that capacity for quite a while. And then when I went to the Northeast campus, I still youth and teens. So I got into the teen program, and we had teen church, and I served as an advisor there for quite some time, worked in the nursery. And then through the years, I taught Sunday school for our teens. And now we have a cancer care ministry. And it hopefully is really making a difference in our community. We've got so many initiatives. And in that role, I serve as the coordinator and a facilitator. So we go out into the community, and we do chemo care packages in which we coordinate with the South Carolina Oncology Associates, in which we give chemo care packages to those taking chemo. And we also will go out. If people have events, we will go and serve as a vendor. We just recently served as a vendor at a health and wellness fair. Our church has a community fun day, and we also serve as a vendor there. And then we have our monthly cancer support group meetings. And so we try to reach not only those people that are diagnosed with cancer, those surviving cancer, but sometimes our caregivers and our children fall through the cracks because they also, I think cancer affects everybody. And sometimes our caregivers and our children, we leave them out. So we have to take care of not only those that have been diagnosed and going through, but what about the people who are taking care of us who've had cancer? And then if we've had children, they know maybe that mom, dad, or grandmother or grandfather has cancer, but do we really talk to our kids? Do we give them the resources to be able to navigate what is happening in our households or even in our families? And so what our church has done, which is I think is amazing, is to have this program where we not only are in the walls with our congregation, but we're out in our communities talking to people about cancer, and working with DHEC and their cancer prevention program. And so I am so proud as a cancer survivor to be able to reach those and help, because it is about educating and motivating and empowering people even in our trials and afflictions. It's important that we are there as a church. The church is the foundation.
Yeah.
And I think that it's important that we are there to uplift and to encourage. So that's where I am there, and I'm happy in that role. Really am. I'm actually teaching a class in the morning. I'm doing a session tomorrow morning on volunteering. So I'm excited to do that.
That is awesome. I love it. With the chemo packages, the chemo care packages, what is a part of that? Welcome, Macy. What is a part of that package? What's in that package for that patient?
Well, as you may or may not know, when you're taking chemo, some people are there for hours, 4 to 6 hours, Angela. And some may go by themselves, some may have a family member with them, but you want to equip them with things that they need. Sometimes when you go to doctor's offices and other places, it may be chilly, it may be cold. So we supply blankets. We supply journals with pens that they can write in, notebook, little notepads that if they can just think of something, they can jot something down. There are puzzles that we put in there. There's water. There are mints because sometimes your throat gets dry. There's lip balm. There's toothpaste. There's toothbrushes.
Wow.
Any little thing that we can think of with hygiene, we put socks in there, we put scarves in there. For women who may have lost their hair, they have an extra scarf in there in case something goes wrong. We have devotionals that we put in there so they can read and be encouraged. And then for those people that have donated, that gave of themselves those items to purchase to put in those bags, we have them to write encouraging notes in there.
Wow.
And so some people have, one lady was so wonderful. She actually gave out sanitizer, but she put scriptures on the sanitizer to encourage people. So we put those in the bag, and lotions with little sayings on them. So it's to encourage and let them know you are not alone in this fight at all. And we are here as a church in our community to be there for you, to help you in any way we can. So we're very excited about that. Very.
That is awesome. I love it. I really do. I was like, the last time when I talked to you, you said something that stuck out to me, and that was that when you go into these appointments and if you've been diagnosed and you're going to those appointments, it's good to have somebody else there with you. So they're writing things down, and they are because you're not like really hearing all of the things that they're telling you at that time, and that stuck with me. And I was like, you can use it for that in other areas too in your life where you're going through those major things, those things that may be traumatizing to you, to have that other person that's there with you through that diagnosis so that they can write things down, they can recall things, bring back things, and let you know some things that you may have missed during an appointment. And I thought that was just awesome. And the care packages is just, I love it. I love it because it's always good that somebody's thinking that detail
Mhm.
about you. and they may not even know you, but they're thinking of everything and covering every area that they can to make you more comfortable, to make you to have you to receive those encouraging words and to be able to move forward. Can you tell us, since this is your 10 years, this is your 10 years. Y'all send up some hearts for Sep. Yes, 10 years. Can you share with us a little bit about your cancer diagnosis and how all of that transpired and how you have come out and now you're like 10 years survivor? Yay.
Yay is right. A cancer diagnosis is scary. And no matter how rooted in your faith you are, there's still some fear. There's there because it's really fear of the uncertainty. It's not fear that God's not going to be there for you or he's left you, or it's just the uncertainty of what you're going through in the moment and not knowing where this is going to land, because what I do know is cancer is not always a death sentence. Sometimes it does happen. And so you don't know when you're diagnosed, God, what's the plan now for me?
Yeah.
And so I was diagnosed May 20, it's like yesterday. I was diagnosed May 28th, 2013. What I will tell women is if you know that there's something wrong with your body, because we know, um, we should act immediately if there's something different. And in July of 2012, I had a perfect mammogram. It was beautiful, no lumps, nothing out of the irregularity, and so I walked away happy. And then in February of 2013, just several months later, maybe 7 to 8 months later, I noticed that something was wrong, something was different. And I brushed it under the rug, and it eventually became worse. And I would never advise any woman to do this, but I waited until May. A girlfriend of mine was having a baby, and we went out to lunch to celebrate. And on our way back from lunch, I confided in her. And she said, you know better. She said, for someone that has had a history of cancer in her family, you know better. You need to go see your doctor. And I did. This was mid-May. I went to see my gynecologist. From there, she sent me to have a mammogram. Then from the mammogram became 2 ultrasounds and then a biopsy. And then, of course, the pathology reports came back on May 28th. That I did have cancer. The blessing in all of that is that it was early enough that, it wasn't anything that was stage 2, 3, or 4. We caught it pretty early, even with me waiting. We caught it pretty early. And I had a double mastectomy. I was 41 years old, which was devastating in itself.
Yeah.
And, being a woman and being that young, that was really devastating. I had to have a total hysterectomy immediately, maybe about, I guess, about 9 or 10 months after that, after trying to have recovery with reconstruction. And then I was diagnosed in February of 2014 with lymphedema because I had lymph nodes removed and my lymphatic system became compromised. So I have lymphedema, and they tell me that there's no cure for that. But what I do know is God will take care of me even in that.
Yes.
So I am confined to wearing a sleeve, a compression sleeve and gauntlet, and I'm on a machine every night for an hour. Because my lymphatic system is compromised, I have to have that fluid moved. And so there's a machine that I am on every night for the rest of my life, I'm told, to be able to stabilize my lymphatic system. But that's not even an issue because God still has me.
Yes.
And then we realized, my gynecologist and my oncologist called me in and said, hey, breast cancer and ovarian cancer are linked. And unfortunately, it's our recommendation that you have a total hysterectomy. I had not had any kids and still wanted some. But I realized that wasn't the plan. And that, it took me a while to realize that, the things that were removed from me didn't make me a woman, and that I was okay. And so we went ahead with the total hysterectomy. And so cancer is hard to deal with, but you can't come out on the other side. What I realized through all of this is that I'm a fighter,
Yeah.
and I had some wonderful prayer partners. My family was supportive beyond measure. I had friends that stuck by me. My church stuck by me and still sticks by me to this day. So I want to encourage anybody that if you're going through cancer, I don't care if it's prostate, thyroid, if it's pancreatic cancer, whatever it is, breast cancer, fight, pray, fight, praise, whatever you have to do to get through it, putting God first.
Yeah.
You can make it. You can make it. And I always tell people there's healing on this side or the other side. But as long as you've got God, you can make it either way.
You're gonna be healed.
You're going to be healed. You're going to be healed.
Either
You're going
way.
to be healed. You're going to be healed. Yes, yes.
Oh my goodness. Um, could you, since we're talking about women, and like I shared in the beginning, I'm talking about women who impact just the world to me, because a lot of people, sometimes you don't see the people up front, but they are touching so many lives in the background, and I see that as changing the world and impacting the world. Oh, that is awesome. Miss A said, blessings to you and thank you for
Oh,
sharing your story of strength. Yes.
thank you.
Because you are a fighter. But with you, I'm trying to think, which question do I want to go to? With the women, I'm gonna go there. What women have encouraged you, or women in history that you would say, hey, that woman encouraged me, she inspired me? I know that there can be so many, but is there one or two that stick out to you that say, hey, it was because of this that inspired me to continue to do what I'm doing, to continue to press forward?
Yeah, there's a lot of women, in my life, but I was raised, Angela, by my maternal grandmother. And she is my biggest, was and is my biggest inspiration. Um, she and my grandfather raised me from age of 8 until I left for college. And if my memory serves me correctly, she only had a fourth or a fifth grade education, but she still instilled in me that education was important because it could take me places that other things or other ways couldn't take me. And she would always say to me, Angela, she'd say, and I knew she was serious when she would call me by my, my given name. And she would say, she was so full of wisdom. And she'd say, Persephone's, she said, you can be anything that you want to be if you put your mind to it. And she'd always tell me, she'd say, you don't have to dance to anyone else's music but your own. And what that told me was that I made my own choices,
Yes.
that I didn't have to let the outside noise really take me over. And didn't have to be a follower, I could be a leader. And then she always taught me, I'm a little dark skinned girl from a little small town. I was always chubby, but she would always say to me, you're beautiful. She would always remind me how beautiful I was and how smart I was. And so she built confidence in me, even from a little girl. I always had confidence. So when I walked into the room, and she reminded me, you're God's child, you're his. So when I walked into a room, or when I walked past the mirror myself, I knew because of God that I was wonderfully made,
Yes.
because she always reinforced that scripture. And so I always felt empowered and motivated because my grandmother, who was from this small town, who had limited education, who raised 10 children plus a grandchild,
Wow.
thought enough of me as a little Black girl to say, you can make it, you will make it. And she's gone now. I miss her so much because I wonder if she looks down and sees me now, how proud she might be.
Yeah.
But I think because of her, I'm able to just navigate this hard life that we have and triumph, even in the dark times. So my grandmother is my greatest inspiration. Greatest. I will
Yeah.
never forget her for how she trained me up to love God, to love others, and just to keep moving no matter what.
Wow. That is awesome. That's awesome. Grandmothers are amazing because
They
I
are amazing. They're amazing, yes.
yes, they are. I was like, I think about my grandmother, and a lot of people that I talk to, they always go back to their grandmother. It's like the grandmother did this, you know. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. What what are the top three? Let's say top three things that you love about yourself.
Oh my gosh. Um, well, what I did learn during the cancer fight, if I should say, is that I'm resilient.
Yes, yes,
I'm resilient. And not only through the cancer fight, I've had other battles in life that I've had to overcome. So I know that I'm resilient. Let's see. That's the top one. The second one, I would say I'm a lover of people. If you know me, I'm an extrovert. I get my energy from people.
yes,
No matter who you are, I do. I just love people of all walks of life. And then three, let's see. I love the skin I'm in. I do.
yes,
I love the skin I'm in, no matter
yes.
what. Yes.
That is amazing. Love it. When you were talking about growing up, I wanted to ask you this question about you growing up. Like, what advice would you give the 30-year-old Persephone?
Oh, Lord, let's see. There's so much. Um, there's so much. I would tell her that she will um, she will have difficult times in life, but God's hand will always be on her. That peace and tranquility will always come, and she's going to find safety and security where she least expects it. So, my advice to her is don't give up and don't quit and run your race, run it with confidence. If she feels weary and faint, just sit down for a while and catch your breath, Persephone's. Taking the moments that make you weak and look for the elements of your strength to keep you in that race. I would tell her that she's loved by God and there are angels that are dispatched that are charged over her life. And the biggest advice I would give her is to follow her own mind, not to be a people pleaser. Love others when they don't love you back.
Mm,
Free yourself from the disease to please.
mm,
That when she finds her efforts located in the lost and found and her heart's broken, that she can pick up the pieces, that she can move forward. So I would ask her to continue to trust God and know that He always keeps promises. He's not a man that He should lie.
right.
And just to keep going, move forward, no matter what. Stay on that path. Life's going to be hard, Persephone's, but keep moving, my friend, because you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
Yes, I love it. And the disease to please, that could be a book.
Yes, yes. And just to choose you. I think as
Yeah,
women, we forget, Angela, to choose ourselves, especially for those that want to make sure that everybody else around us is fine.
yeah,
And we put ourselves on the back burner, not intentionally. It's just that our hearts are so open and our arms are so open for other people that we forget. And I think that that 30-year-old me forgot. And I'm just learning now at 51 that I'm choosing me
yes,
to keep my peace and my sanity and take care of me the best way I can possibly can. And it's not too late, even at 51. I will continue to do the things I do for other people, but God first, me second now, and
yes,
then others will follow. So
yes,
choosing me, that should be a good theme for us, Angela. Choose me, choose you.
yes, yes. I love it because I'm there. I'm there with you. I'll be 53 this year. And it wasn't until I got like, oh, I was like, what are you doing? You got to think about yourself. You got to take care of you. Because if
Mhm.
you can't take care of you, you can't really take care of anybody else.
You can't.
So
You really can't.
right, you have to take care of yourself. Um, tell us if your life was made into a movie and you could choose the actress to play Persephone, Who would you choose? Who would you choose to play you in a movie?
I would actually choose Viola Davis.
Wow.
Not because physically, we favor each other or anything like that. But I think that she's just number one, a great actress all the way around. I love every movie. Woman King, I was cheering her on.
Yes, me
Um,
too.
but she's graceful. I've watched her in interviews, and she's graceful. And like Persephone's, I think she's comfortable in the skin she's in.
Yes.
And when I hear her talk, she's always cheering for other women and celebrating other women. And that's me. And I think I'd want someone, with those characteristics to, you know, if there were a movie made about my life,
Yes.
I would love someone of that caliber, with those characteristics to play me.
Yes. It would be awesome though, because she is. And she takes on the person. It's
Yes,
like she just takes them on. So yes, that would be
yes.
that would be awesome. Diane was like, "Yes, ma'am." Oh goodness. What I asked you, will you think? Do you think that there will ever be a book from Persephone's, a book that you may write that we could read?
Yes. Yes, it's funny that you say that. I am in a group called Carolina Writers with some really renowned authors and some local artists, some authors, and actually filmmakers here in South Carolina. And I am putting together some things. I can't tell you when it come out because, we're just getting the character on paper.
Yes.
Um, there's been a lot of chapters moving around, but believe it or not, God gave me in my sleep one night about a year ago 10 titles. So I don't know if we're going to have 10 chapters or 10 books. But but yes, so I there will be a book, and preferably at some point, because I am really excited about leadership and what I am able to offer the world through
Right.
teaching about leadership, that there will be a leadership book somewhere out. So
Yes.
hopefully we can get a book with a character, and then we can get us a book on leadership, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, I'll be looking for the books. I'll be looking for the books because I want to read them both, or all 10. If there's 10 that should come forth, that would be awesome though. And I think that the book, like you were talking about with the training and the leadership and the classes being taught and different things, I would love it. Y'all, if have class on training and you see Persephone's Canty as the speaker, as the leader of the class, get in the class. It's worth it. It is worth getting in that class. You're gonna
Thank
learn
you.
and you're gonna have fun. So it's good. Is there anything that you have not accomplished up to this point where you're saying that's another goal for me? That's something else that I want to do in the future. Because you're doing so much, and I mean, with the master's degree, the undergraduate, the doctoral degree, and all the other things that are happening in your life, is there something that you saying, I want to attain that too?
Yeah. So remember, I told you as I went through cancer, hysterectomy took away the ability to have children. And so God saw fit for 2 years, 2 beautiful years for me to have foster children. And so being in that whole world of the foster care system, learning the ins and outs, it broke my heart to see how children were put into the system and how they were kind of just shuffled around from home to home, and how they entered your home basically with nothing. So I
Right,
really would love to start a program that we help foster children, and help them navigate being taken away from their home, their parents, their grandparents, and putting to a stranger's home. Maybe some program that we kind of help them navigate their emotions and things like that, because they don't get any
right.
any help. I had, my son was the oldest, my foster son, and we actually got counseling for him. We realized he needed it, and we sent him to counseling. And I don't think a lot of the kids get that.
Right.
We sacrificed our time and monies to get him into counseling ourselves, because we wanted him to be a whole individual, even though he was going through trials and tribulations. I think people don't realize that even children go through really emotional situations. I told you my grandparents raised me from 8. My mom left me at 8 years old. And as a child, I didn't know how to navigate that. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if it was my fault. I didn't know what happened.
Right.
And so, you go through life with all these emotions and nobody wants to talk about it. And we're told as children, you don't have feelings, but they
Right.
do.
They do.
And they do. And so with the foster care system, I would love to have a program and maybe, get with, a system and see what we can do to help them, from clothing to, just like I said, navigating their emotional and psychological health, when they're shifted from home to home.
Yeah. And this needed is really is needed because yeah, it it hurts to see, because the kids, like you're saying, they're coming into somewhere that's new. They're coming into somewhere that they don't know the people, and they're having to adjust. And then some of them, just like, they just don't understand what took place and what happened. So
Right.
yeah, that's a need. Yeah. And that would be awesome. That would be awesome to be a part of, and to see that, to have that transitional time, and
Mhm.
that help in there. That is awesome. Wow. Um, would you share with us, because our time is winding up for us, but can you share with us your scripture that encourages you, and prayerfully it would encourage somebody else tonight as we're getting ready to close out this interview.
Absolutely. I'll go back to when I had cancer. So I had lots of friends and church members that would send me things, cards, presents, journals, and things like that. And Angela, believe it or not, so many of those presents and journals and cards had the same scripture on there. It was like God sending me that message. And that scripture was Jeremiah 29:11. For I
Yeah.
know the plans that I have for you, not to harm you, but to prosper you. And that stuck with me. It stuck with me and it got me over so many dark days. It still sticks with me, because I know no matter what I go through, that God's plan is bigger than it all. And so, what I want to tell every woman, every man, every child out there, that you can make it.
Right.
Don't make it without Christ. Carry him with you, because he knows what he has planned for you in your life.
Yes.
And even if it seems dark in that moment, I always tell people, just keep walking and don't look down. Keep your eyes straight forward, keep your mind on him. And even when it's dark, we're human, Angela. And so we do have our little moments of doubt. But keep praying and keep knowing that God has not, he's not, and he has not, and he will not harm you. He will prosper you. He will take you out of those hard times. So I will say, stay in the fight, stay encouraged, keep people around you who love you, who support you, who will motivate you, who will be your cheerleaders. I have some really, really loud cheerleaders in my life who are God sent, who are believers, who are prayer warriors. And so I ask you, if you haven't read that scripture, I ask you to go to it. And there's so many more, but that's the one that keeps me grounded
Yeah.
every day of my life. So I just want people to be encouraged and be motivated to keep going. Our suicide rates are so high, Angela. Um, And I just worry about people, the young people, old people who
Yeah.
feel like it's not worth it. It is worth it. You are worth it. You are loved. I have not met a lot of people, who are probably watching tonight, but I love you. And that's true because it's of God. And
Yes.
so just know that there's somebody praying for you. That song my grandmother used to sing at church, somebody prayed for me, had me on
Yes.
their mind. And so just stay encouraged. Just stay encouraged.
Thank you, Steph. I appreciate that. I really do. I thank you so much for joining us, and I thank you for sharing your heart with us tonight. And I know that it has touched a lot of people. I am so appreciative of you, of who you are, who you represent, and because some days even when I would see Steph, just to see her was like it will brighten up my day. It will make my day so much better. She'd be like, "Hi, Angela," and I was like, "Oh, there's Steph." I can make it today. I can keep moving, and it just will bring a smile to my face that you had a smile on your face, even though you were going through a lot of different things. You still were smiling. You still were going, and you still were making everybody else's day. So, I thank you for joining me on tonight. I want you to have the most amazing weekend and
Thank you.
also amazing class on tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Pray for me. It's my
Yes,
church
ma'am.
people, child. It's not a corporate. It's my church members. So they're a different audience. They're a different audience.
Oh, we will do that. But congratulations again, Sep. 10 years, it is amazing. And I am so glad that the Father, our God, our Father, has allowed you to be here and do this interview with me. I am so excited about that. I'm so glad that you were able to do it. And I'm looking forward to great things. I'm going to be looking for Steph's books, y'all. I'm going to be looking for the books and other things that she's doing, and we will keep you in the loop. If a book comes out, we're going to have Steph on. If she starts these different classes, we're going to get her back on here some kind of way.
Oh gosh.
Have a
Angela,
show talk.
I
Go
thank
ahead.
you so much for having me tonight. It really was inspiring, and I hope that you and I both were able to touch at least one person tonight,
Yes.
because that's what it's really all about. Whenever we get together like this, is just to hopefully inspire somebody to keep going, whether it's through get a degree, whether it's whatever they have in life. So thank
Right.
you so much. I really appreciate you, and I love you.
Love you too. It's not over, guys. It's just the beginning. Wherever you are, today can be your beginning. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, for allowing us in your homes, in your cars, wherever you may be listening. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your life on tonight. And you can listen to this interview again on tomorrow at 4 p.m. There will be a replay, and if anybody didn't get a chance to listen tonight, they can come on back on tomorrow at 4 p.m. and hear the whole entire interview. Or just meet us on back here next week, Friday at 7 p.m. I'll be right here with Whole and Beautiful, ready to share with you some information, revelation, and some change, allowing you to see, hear, and know that Whole and Beautiful is not just your destination, it is most definitely your journey. So, guys, y'all have an amazing weekend, and I'll see y'all again next week. Love you much. Good night, everybody.
Night.